that something is real, then it is real in its effects.
In terms of its social reality.
In terms of the social reality, in terms of what people act according to their beliefs.
Yeah.
And that opens a question of, really at two levels, could the UFO phenomenon be manipulating us? Could it be a teaching system of some sort? Perhaps something that we are creating ourselves, perhaps a series of images that we are projecting. I think Carl Jung came very close to expressing that idea in one of his books. Or could it be manipulated purposely by people who have the technology to simulate UFO sightings? And people say, well, of course not. Who would do a thing like that? Well, I would remind you that
with the 5G network ready to be implemented, many people are asking what are the advantages and risk of the network? ELF stands for extremely low frequency radiation. The ELF waves that comes from electronics, power lines and cell towers have a profound negative effect on cells. ELF wave exposure has been linked with decreased levels of calcium, zinc, and magnesium. Recent studies have shown also that the frequencies used by the 5G network are identical to the frequencies in crowd control weapons. In many countries, the building of cell towers and Wi-Fi routers are prohibited near schools and nurseries. These technologies affect both the eyes and skin. The sweat ducts are like a number of helical antennas when interacting with wavelengths used by 5G technology. A helical antenna is a system of multiple antennae. Dr. Deverly Davis stated that you
are one of the millions who seek faster downloads of movies, games and virtual pornography. A solution is at hand, that is, if you do not mind volunteering your living body in a giant uncontrolled experiment on the human population. At this moment, residents of the Washington, D.C. region, like those of 100 Chinese cities, are about to be living within a vast experimental millimeter wave network to which they have not consented, all courtesy of American taxpayers.
This technology used with refit chip and electronic tattoos could create a world spoken of in the world.
Angel went and poured out his bowl on the land, and ugly, festering sores broke out on the people who had the mark of the beast and worshipped its image.
Earth experts on VR and AR believes that 5G will unlock a whole world of AR and VR technology. The 4G network was okay in small local applications, but 5G operates at 10 times the network efficiency. Is such technology already in use
by people who have the technology to simulate UFO sightings? And people say, well, of course not. Who would do a thing like that? Well, I would remind you that during the Watergate investigation, it was discovered that there was a plan originated in the White House to surface a submarine off the coast of Cuba and paint the Second Coming of Christ over the island of Cuba using holograms. Which is well within our technology today. The idea was that since there is a large Catholic population in Cuba, they would be so upset by this vision that this would saturate the communication channels, the telephone system in Cuba, long enough for an invasion to take place.
How interesting. I'd never heard of that.
Well, I think that's a classic in psychological warfare, but that kind of manipulation is well understood, and I have personally investigated several apparently genuine UFO cases where there was in fact manipulation. My conclusion, the conclusion of scientists working with me, was that there was in fact.
In Cuba, April 1982, a crowd saw a bright flash that turned into the Blessed Virgin La Caridad del Cobre. Later another apparition appeared at the part of Mariel Soldier shot at the figure as it floated in the air. Later it was speculated that the apparitions were holographic images produced to cause confusion and terror as part of military campaign.
March 13, 1997, scores, perhaps hundreds of Arizonans were privy to one of the most dramatic UFO sightings of the modern age. And at least one Phoenix resident also witnessed a strange holographic image in the wake of that massive triangular UFO. But was she the only one who got a glimpse of the truth? At 8:30 Mountain Standard Time, a caller to the National UFO Reporting Center stated that he had seen the giant triangle and what he thought was a red laser beam shoot out of the craft very near to where Christine had seen the hologram.
the testimony that says that there was a red laser beam tends to lead one toward the explanation that it was a holographic projection. And it might be that as they were shutting those sources down, or in the process of moving it across the sky, one accidentally became visible for a short period of time.
So all this talk about holograms and UFOs have a lot to do with this dream that one of my friends had a couple of years ago. They had a dream that their family was at Thanksgiving dinner and they were sitting around and everything was good. They were eating and stuff like that. And they started hearing like a whirling sound, like there's a whirling sound. And then they saw the news report come across the screen that said alien invasion, you know, stay in your house, the alien invasion. So they stayed in their house. And my friend then told me that they, in the dream, went outside. And when they went outside, they saw it was like a UFO just spinning around and stuff. And, but it was see-through. So they saw this see-through UFO. So then they jumped in their car and drove off. And when they got to the city limits, it was all kind of cars and stuff that was like being blocked off from blockades and stuff like that, but they got out and they were away. So that's kind of what ties it in with all this stuff about holograms and 5G and elf waves and all that. So be careful.